aspects. One is privatization, another one is the merger.
Sir.
Merger is not a new for us. For the past 5 years, mergers are being happening. 3 mega mergers have happened.
Sir, these are very, very big bank. Bank of India and Central Bank.
3 mega mergers are happened. First one was the State Bank of India and its associates. Then Bank of Baroda, Dina Bank and Vijaya Bank. Then the third merger, 10 banks have become 4. And left out are around 6 banks. Now they may privatize. They have announced the privatization of 2 banks. Then left out will be around 4 banks. And they may make a, whether you call it as a Maha merger or a Maha Bank or otherwise, the government may take a decision to merge. No doubt, merger gives certain improvements in the efficiency levels on account of economies of scale. But merger, to give the result, it takes 2-3 years. We cannot say that the mergers will overnight, because 2 banks have merged and it has become one entity, it will give results on the next day. No. It takes for a period of at least 2 to 3 years to show its results. Because there are so many challenges in merger, either technological platforms or human resources or the schematic lending products, all those things. So mergers may give that, but one should be cautious that when the size is beyond proportion, there should be a structural thinking how to manage those banks from top to downwards. When these 3 banks which you are telling, if they are 3 put together, exceeds about say 25 to 30,000 branches. How to manage? Now these 3 public sector banks are having their own individual zonal offices, circle offices, and the head office. But that concept will not be sufficient to manage those banks after merger. There should be a concept to integrate after. According to me, if the government decides to merge these 3 banks, the government should announce at least a year or 2 before the merger and give the time to be ready for merger after 2 years by uniformly making the products, uniformly going for a platforms, uniformly creating an impression in the employees that after merger, nobody will be affected in the merged entity. So it has to be taken over a period of time instead of announcing by 2 months before and merging in April. And within 1 year to get them merged, most of the things getting merging will be difficult. And we have merged, we have done 3 mergers. So let us wait for another year and see the result of public sector.
Very nice, sir. Really, after listening to you, I am also feeling some shaky. How you present the things, sir, it is a really
Then wonderful. Coming to the privatization.
Very wonderful, sir.
Privatization, according to me, it is not the ownership, it is the integrity and autonomy of the functioning of the bank that is most important. No doubt, the banks were nationalized in 1969 and 1980 with the objective of going to the meeting the requirements of the poor and poorest section of the country. Government thinks that it has given its fruits, it has met its objective. So they have decided to take privatization of 2 public sector banks besides IDBI. I don't want to guess the banks' names and all. If the government strategy to privatize the banks depends upon whether government wants funds by digital investment or government wants to avoid recapitalization. That will decide which banks to be nationalized. And there is a process, Niti Aayog will decide and a secretaries group will decide and ultimately ministers group will take a final decision and all as per the government information. So privatization, maybe it takes, but I don't think the public sector banks as a whole have not done well. because public sector banks, after in the past 51 years, they are responsible for the Indian economic development for the past 51 years. If you take, for example, agriculture finance, at the time of first nationalization, it is less than double digit. It is just double digit, 54 or 60 crores. Now it is 5 lakh crores. And if you see the latest scheme of 4 to 5 years back, Jan Dhan Yojana, out of the 33 crores or 34 crores accounts were opened, 95% accounts were opened by the Indian public sector banks.
Right.
So their contribution is there. But if we feel that, let's say, cycle is over, we have to come back from the public sector nature to the privatization, we have to do it. And no doubt, privatization will give some efficiency parameters improvement. And it also, the private sector, one advantage is they will be disciplined by the market. You just see the Yes Bank. The moment its performance was not there, the 400 rupees share has come down to 12 rupees and 20 rupees.
Yeah,
so
right.
that they will be disciplined by the market.
Right.
So efficiencies will be improved. But if you see in the last 2-3 years, with the initiation of the banks and also the government, the ease reforms have come in the public sector banks. The banks are going to take advantage of the convergence of all the public sector banks. Please see that result of those public sector banks convergence via ease reforms. See, by creating this bad bank and the transferring of NPS and its impact, take some time, then privatize, so that by taking this, transferring this NPA, if you say on the budget date, and the moment it was announced, the ARC and AMC and DFI, the Sensex has gone up by 5%. It has never happened in the last 2 decades on a budget day. So what I mean to say is, wait for the advantage to improve in the equity value of the banks and then privatize, then the government will be benefited by realizing the more amount than the immediate privatization. Before concluding,
sir, really, sir, you are great, and your thinking, I think, should be listened to the government also for that aspect.
If you give 2 minutes, I want to say, for 2 minutes, I want to say,
sir,
the government has not come about the modalities of the ARC.
Sir.
But according to me, 1 or 2, 3 things have to be followed by the government and the RBI, so that the banks can concentrate on the fresh lending.
Right.
According the concept which it is telling is, the banks will transfer the assets at the price outstanding balance minus provisioning. But according to me, it should not be like that. Suppose a substandard asset is there, it should be transferred at a price outstanding minus 25%, that is 75% of the outstanding. A doubtful asset should be transferred at a 60% of the outstanding, irrespective of the provisioning.
Right.
If the banks are having the excess provisioning, they should transfer that excess provisioning to a provision fluctuation fund, and that fund should be treated as a tier 1, so that the capital adequacy ratios will be improved and the banks will have the fresh lending, and whatever the SRs the banks will receive, on the SRs, the banks may be asked to provide a provision of 15 to 20%. So by the time these assets will be disposed in 2 years or so, banks further will have a provision of 30 to 40%. So they will be in a position to take the haircut instead of taking the entire burden at this time of transfer of NPA assets. So the government or the banks can get a double benefits. One is reduction of NPA. Second is increasing the capital adequacy and giving for fresh lending.